Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much to everybody who's participated. This was my dream, that I could just create conversation starters and then have the privilege of bearing witness to the journey of so many people who are complex and beautiful and becoming their very best selves. And that journey is messy. And getting to hear some of your stories is so inspiring to my own soul. So sincerely, thank you. What a gift to me. If this is your first time joining us, get caught up. The videos are only 4 minutes long, so that means I never have a chance to properly introduce what we're doing. But I have 4 minutes to talk about some kind of text as a wonderful excuse for a conversation starter for us to get to connect and share stories. So the first week we were talking about the book of Ruth and how Ruth had all these labels assigned to her. And then the second week, we were talking about what we feel compelled to do, even as society doesn't like it. And then this week, we're going to update. We're with Ruth. She is a woman with very limited rights, and I could get upset and rant on that for a while, but I'm going to stay focused. And she's a foreigner, which means she has even more rights. Now, she was been absorbed into a new community, and that community, the people of Israel, they have a whole different covenant than most societies. They have a very advanced social structure as far as we survive by our interdependence on one another, amongst one another, which means it was the social responsibility to care for the weak and the vulnerable from the very initiation. So she knew that, or she may not have known, her family, Naomi, who she traveled with, knew that there was some built-in charity opportunities. One of those included that in that time, if somebody was harvesting wheat or fruit or any kind of land agricultural product, if anything fell on the ground, you were supposed to leave it so that the people who didn't have means to work or to have their own or to be employed lawfully, that they could come and pick up the scraps. Well, that's exactly what Ruth did. Ruth went to a field and she would harvest whatever was left over, and she got noticed. She got noticed by the owner of the field because she apparently had been there working alongside the paid workers all day long. And that man was an Israelite who knew his responsibility as a person in a position of privilege and power and said, I see her, and she must have a unique need. And this was really interesting because there was a code that said he couldn't rebuke her and he had to let her. And there was also a code that said that we don't treat well some of the foreigners. And that sucks, but that's true. And man, historically, we are still battling that today. We have some preconditioned ideas that some people are somehow more of a threat than others. And the Moabites, which is the people that Ruth was from, were some of those people. And yet Boaz said, leave a little extra, drop extra for her. And so this is my question for you. Do you have a community that supports you? Do you have a place that drops extra? And if you do, are you willing to pick it up? I admit sometimes I haven't been, and we can talk more about that when we get to gather in our spaces, but sometimes it's really hard to receive the generosity. Do you have a support system? What kind of support do they offer you? What does that support look like? Are you one of the people who provides support to others because you also have some kind of privilege? And what does that look like? I'm super excited to learn more about that. Join me in the talk portion.